Greetings children, welcome to the online classes. This is Aishwarya. The following video is for class 6, subject General Science, chapter 3, Fiber to Fabric, part 2. So in part 1, you learned about, I request you all to follow the textbook when I am completing the lesson. We are doing the chapter 3, page number 18. So in the previous video, you learned about how Paheli and Bhojo they went to a fabric shop and they learned that there are different kinds of materials. So there also you learned that there are different kinds of materials, that is cotton, silk, and everything. Then you learned what was yarn. Then you learned from yarn how to make fibers, and from fibers how to make fabric. So here first you're going to learn about cotton. Have you ever made wicks from oil lamps? For oil lamps, wicks for oil lamps means you we light the lamp, right? That is called wicks. What do you use for making these wicks? These are the cotton wools that is used for filling mattresses, quilts, or pillows. Usually the mattresses made of cotton is good for health. So we are going to learn about cotton. Take some cotton wool, pull it apart, and look at its edges. What do you observe? The small thin strands that you see are made up of cotton fibers. Now, where does the cotton wool come from? Now, the cotton wool grows in places like black soil. The field should have black soil. Usually it grows in black soil and warm climate. The climate should not be very hot or it should not be very cold. It should be warm. Warm means usually it is considered to be growing in the hot places only. Cotton plants are usually grown at places having black soil and warm climate. Now, one state that you can name that has black soil and warm climate is Andhra Pradesh. There lot of cotton is grown. The fruit of cotton plants or the cotton balls are about the size of a lemon. Now in the next slide you can see the picture of the cotton balls. It is almost in the size of a lemon. After maturing, the balls burst open and the seeds covered with the cotton fibers can be seen. Here you can see the cotton flower, how it turns out to be the cotton balls in the 4 images. First picture, it is the cotton flower. Then later, second picture, the flower is ready to become a fruit. When the fruit burst out, they are called the cotton balloons. Now this is the picture of a cotton field. Usually it should be the field should be hot and it should be made of black soil. That is very important for the growth of cotton. From these cotton balls, fibers are separated from the seeds by combining. This process is called ginning. As you can see in the 2 pictures here, this is the process of ginning. Ginning of cotton, it was traditionally done by hand. How they are separating the seeds from the cotton balls. Cotton balls will have cotton fibers and the seeds also. So they have to separate the seeds from the cotton balls. That process is called ginning. Ginning. This is a very important process in removing the cotton fiber from the cotton balls. So first image is how they are removed from the handmade or using the hand. Then the second picture you can see that it is also done by machines, by different big industries. Next is about jute plant. Jute fiber is obtained from the stem, the jute plant. you can see the picture. The field has the jute plant which is grown very well. It is cultivated during the rainy season in India. In India, jute mainly grown in West Bengal, Bihar and Assam. The jute plant is normally harvested when it is at the flowering stage. When the flower starts appearing, we usually harvest it. That means we cut down the jute plant from the field. The stem of the harvested plants are immersed in the water for a few days. In India, jute is mainly grown in West Bengal, Bihar and Assam. Jute plant is normally harvested when it is in the flowering stage. When as you can see in the picture, as the jute flower starts appearing, we start the cutting down of the plants. Now, after cutting down the plants, we usually immerse them in the water for few days. The stem rot and the fibers are separated by hand. Here you can, in the picture, in the four pictures, you can see that in the first picture, the they have immersed the jute in the water for many days. After that, it has been separated, all the jute, how the man itself, he is separating all the fibers of the jute plant. Then they keep it for drying and then they sell it in the market. So to make the fabrics, all these fibers are first converted into yarns. Now to convert it to yarn, we have to use something called spinning. The process of spinning, or the spinning of cotton yarn. The process of making yarn from fiber is called spinning. Now here I would like to read out one activity from page number 21. Hold some cotton wool in your hand. I'm sure cotton will be available in your house itself. Pinch some cotton between the thumb and the forefinger of your hand. Now gently start pulling out the cotton while continuously twisting the fibers. This, your parents will be more familiar with the spinning process. This spinning can be done with our hands. Usually this spinned yarn is used as the witch to the lamp. This process of making yarn from the fiber is called spinning. The process of In this process, the fiber from the mass of the cotton wool are drawn out and twisted. This brings the fiber together to form a yarn. The simple device used for spinning in the hand spindle, also called as takli. Takli is, as you can see in the picture, it is used for spinning. When you spin it in the hand, there are more chances that it might break. If you are using takli, the uh, the spinned yarn does not break. That is why we use the device called takli. Another hand operated device are also used, that is the charaka. Charaka is also the use of charaka was popularized by Mahatma Gandhi as the part of the independence movement. Now charaka is also important because it was very famous during the independence movement of India. He encouraged people to wear clothes made from homespun yarn termed as the khadi. Khadi, in olden days, India used to produce lot of cotton fabrics, and we named it as khadi. Even today, khadi is available in some of the shops like Khadi Bandar, and it is the pure cotton. The cloth is made out of pure cotton. Now, a little about the history. Now, Mahatma Gandhi encouraged people to wear clothes made of homespun yarn termed as khadi, and shun imported clothes made in mills of Britain. To popularize and promote khadi, the Government of India constituted a body called Khadi and Village Industry Commission in 1956. Spinning of yarns on a large scale is done with the help of spinning machine. After spinning, yarns are used for making the fabrics. Now from yarn to fabric, there are many ways. The main two processes are the weaving and the knitting. Now first we are going to learn about weaving. The process of arranging two sets of yarns together to make a fabric is called weaving. Now in the activity before, you notice that the fabrics are made of two sets of yarns arranged together. So that two arranged together are called the weaving, the process of weaving. Here you can see in the weaving machine, from the top there is one set of threads coming, from the down there is one set of threads coming. So in between there will be the thread will be sent from one corner to other corner. In this way it is called the weaving. This process is called weaving. Here if you want to learn weaving, you can learn it by using the paper sheets at home. Take two sheets of paper of different color, cut square pieces of length and width up to 30 centimeters of each sheet. Now fold the sheets into half. One sheet, draw lines as shown in the picture, as you can see. Then if when you start interconnecting those sheets, this process becomes the weaving process. This is how the weaving of the cloth also happen. In the similar manner, two sets of yarn are woven to make a fabric. The yarn is much thinner than our paper strips, of course. Weaving of fabric is done on looms. The loom are either hand operated or power operated. Next is knitting. In knitting, it is the single yarn, single thread. In um, in weaving, it was two different yarns, but in knitting, it is the single thread. A single yarn is used in making a piece of fabric. For this, the best example is your uh, sweaters or your socks. They are made out of wool, and they are usually made from knitting. Knitting is usually done by hand. It can also be done by the machines also. Now, a little about history of clothing materials. Have you ever wondered what materials people used in ancient times for clothing? It appears that in those times people used barks and big leaves or trees and animal skins or furs to cover themselves. After people began to settle down in agricultural communities, they learned to weave twigs and grass into mats and baskets. Vines and animal fleece or hair were twisted together into long strands. These were woven into fabrics. In early Indians wore fabric made out of cotton that grew in the regions near the river Ganga. Flax is also a plant that gives natural fibers. In ancient Egypt, cotton as well as flax were cultivated near the river Nile and were used for making fabrics. This is all about history of clothing material. In those days, stitching was not known. Different parts of people simply draped the fabrics around different parts of their body. Many different ways of draping fabrics were used. With the invention of the sewing needle, people started stitching fabrics to make clothes. Stitched clothes have gone through many variations since this invention. The invention of the sewing needle. It became very, very important in the history of clothing materials. But it is not amazing that even today sari, dhoti, lungi or turban is used as an unstitched piece of fabric. Only the corners are stitched. The other part of the sari or the dhoti is not stitched. Just as there is a large variety in the food eaten all over our country, a large variety exists also in fabrics and clothing items. Lot of different kinds of clothing are also used in our day-to-day life. That ends the chapter of fiber to fabric. Thank you, children. Stay at home, stay safe, take care of yourself, and keep learning.